What's up, Pats fans? Pat's Tailgate Party Podcast back at you. Andrew's not here today to answer this question, so somebody's going to have to answer it for me. What episode is this? Anybody know?
I think this is 10, is it not?
Is it 10?
Who's count?
There it is. There it is. Dad right there on the horn. Look at that. Coming. Mike with the real answer. And Dad with Andrew's answer. I love it, man. You
That's
guys,
right.
We didn't even prep that. We didn't practice that before we got on here. So that's well done, fellas. Well done. Well, no, we're back. It is episode 10. We're deep into the season. I was looking the other day, and what are we on? Week 13? Is it already week 13 in the NFL? And I thought to myself, man, this happens every year. And I know a lot of fans talk about this, but by the time we get to week 13 and kind of Thanksgiving is over, and we'll talk about Thanksgiving here in a minute, it's amazing to me how fast the season goes, right? Which I guess they say, time flies when you're having fun, but and last season seemed to go a lot slower than this season, probably because we're having more fun, right? But anyway, Michael Lake is here. You'll find me on Boston Sports Journal, Pat Sox, Celts Brews as a member. If you haven't gone to Boston Sports Journal, you got to get on there. You got to check it out. Literally the best Patriots and Boston sports coverage you can find by the one Greg Bedard. The other two gentlemen on the screen are also on Boston Sports Journal. The guy to my right, Mike Davis, Mike from Stoneham on BSJ. How are you today, sir?
I am fantastic, Mike. Thanks for asking.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And then down below, he looks awfully similar to me because he's my father. That's Doug Lakis on Boston Sports Journal. Dad, how are you today?
Hi, Mike. Doing well.
Good. Yeah, man. Doing great. We don't have Andrew today. He's probably having fun time with the family at Wallace Wade Stadium in Durham, North Carolina. I hope he's having fun with the family because the football he's watching right now is probably not very fun as Duke's losing to Miami. But that's all right. He's a Duke lifer, man. And I got to say this. I'll give him a little bit of credit. Anybody that has season tickets to Duke football, that's a real Duke fan right there. Let me tell you right now, if you got season tickets to Duke football, because they're usually all about basketball, although I can't say much because they've gone to the ACC championship game and my NC State Wolfpack have not. So I probably should just stop right there and move on to the Patriots. So anyway, Thursday night we had a last Thursday. So we took a little bit of a hiatus because of the holidays. We do hope everybody had an awesome Thanksgiving and time with friends and family. And we're back with after a little bit of an extended break. So we're going to recap a few things today, again, from the fans' perspective. If you want to join us, by the way, which we've now had a few people reach out, which is fantastic. So we'll probably have a bigger tailgate party coming up soon, but you can email me at patstailgateparty@gmail.com, patstailgateparty@gmail.com, and come join us. All you need is a mouth and a phone, and just to talk about the Patriots from a fan's perspective. So let's jump right into Thursday. What did you guys see on Thursday? I'll tell you one thing that I saw is that I feel like I nailed the prediction again, that it was going to be a blowout. But I do think that and I think, Mike, you said this, those Thursday night games, man, they are slogs, man. I mean, they are painful to watch. Like from an execution standpoint, you can tell the guys are tired out there, but a big win, shutout win, 25-0 on the road at Atlanta. Any thoughts about that game from you guys?
Coach, I'll let you go first.
As we talked about on our last podcast, the Thursday night game is tough. Normally the NFL doesn't start practice again until Wednesday on the field. So now you're talking about going right out on Monday or filming Monday, practicing Tuesday and Wednesday, and traveling to wherever you got to go. And like I said, I thought it would be rough at the beginning. I thought it would be sloppy. It was, penalties and so on and so forth, and lack of execution in certain areas. But at no point in the game did I feel like the Patriots were in trouble, and in danger of losing. Sure. It was one of those games where you felt like when it was 14, when the Patriots were up, 14 to
nothing.
Was nothing, and then he throws the interception. Jones throws the interception. You're kind of like, oh boy, they're letting them hang around,
right?
And but then that all evened out. And at the end of the day, the game wasn't close. I gotta say, I felt bad for Matt Ryan, to be quite honest.
Oh man!
I mean, the guy has been the ultimate professional for all these years, right? and he's playing on a team that's just not good.
They're so bad.
And not to mention getting his brains beat out. Every time he goes out there.
Every play. Here's you want to hear a crazy take that'll probably get us taken off the air in Patriots Nation. I love the fact that we won the 28-3 Super Bowl, but there's a big empathetic part of me as a human that feels really bad for Matt Ryan and the Atlanta players in that game. Like, especially Matt. I mean, Matt Ryan's like, if it was the other way around, right, and that happened to the Patriots, I would tell you Brady's like, and Brady lost. Let's imagine it happened the other way, right? And now Brady would have 6 Super Bowls instead of 7. I, as a Patriots fan, would tell you that Brady should have 7 Super Bowls. So if I transfer that over, Matt Ryan should have a Super Bowl. Like, you can't lose that game.
It wasn't on him, right? I mean, what was his passer rating?
Oh, he's unreal.
He played well.
I just can't imagine that pain is what I'm trying to say. Like that type of pain.
And I don't think he's probably gotten past it. I mean, a lot of the guys that he played within that Super Bowl game are gone. They're no longer with Atlanta.
Right.
And
I also am not one, again, I'm going to sound real soft here, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong. I'm also not, I can't stand when people still troll the Falcons about that. Like, leave them alone, man. Like, just like you, but they still do it. Like, the ring had 283 diamonds. Like, it's just, to me, that's just like, I get it. There's some gamesmanship there, but I'm also like, all right, man. Like, every day, people, I don't know. Tell me I'm wrong. I guess I feel that.
But look, 28-3 doesn't necessarily mean you're trolling the Falcons, right? It's saying that the Patriots came back too.
That's true. Right. That's true. You're right. Well, and to be fair, it was awesome to watch them come back. Like, it was unbelievable.
I mean, if you really want to take a shot, you go back to the 2007 season where the Patriots go 18-0.
I'm glad nobody brings that up anymore.
Go into New York. I mean, playing the Giants in the Super Bowl, which, no one thought it was going to be, and really led late. Not by much, but led late.
Yeah, 14-10. Moss scored late.
Get beat and go 18-1. Well, no one cares if you go 18-1.
Nope.
They want, if you're 19-0, you're the greatest team ever.
That's exactly right.
18-1. Oh well.
To this day, I think, Mike, you Dad, tell me if I'm wrong. That game usually comes on, right? Because they replay the Super Bowls before the Super Bowl. Usually they get you like 2 or 3 weeks.
I can't watch it.
I watch it every. I watch it every time and text Dad. It's like this. I don't know why I watch it. Like it's that thing where you watch the train, in the movie coming onto the car, and you're like, well, maybe this time it won't hit the car. Like, it's that thing where you're like, no, I'm gonna get a different ending. And every time.
Eli still gets away.
Every time that 3rd and long plays, and Seymour's got him in the grasp, and I'm like, there's no way. This is a fan. Look at this. They're going to sack him. It's going to be 4th and long. They're going to get the ball back, take a knee, and they're going to go to 19. It's going to be unreal. And every time he slips away, and every time I'm like, Rodney, how do you not punch that out? One, how do you not intercept it? Get in front of the ball. But then you're coming down. Anyway, we're going off the tracks here. So, Mike, you got to give me a take. Come on, Mike. Bring us back.
I'm going to bring it back. So last week, you guys had a bunch of either predictions or asks.
Okay.
And so let's start with Doug. Right? So Coach said it's going to be real ugly early, and then the Patriots are going to pull it together, and they're going to run away with it. Right? So huge one on that one. Mike Lakis, you said Nelson Aguilar, I need you to get me a touchdown. I want to see you break down the middle of that. How about that 19 yards after the catch, got himself in the end zone? Did he not almost like listen to you and run that one right in? And then he got a big catch in the 4th quarter too, just to say, hey, I heard you, right?
I'll give him some fanfare.
Move the chains.
Yep, that's right.
That's right.
He did. He looked good.
And then I think Andrew said he thought, you were going to see more out of WR1. And I thought he had a couple of really nice catches in that game. Go ahead, Doug.
He actually, on the interception Jones threw, he had WR1 wide open.
Yeah.
And didn't throw it to him.
Yeah, I think he got fooled on that big time.
He did.
And I think, I was trying to remember, I think it was Andrew who was saying what he was really waiting for was to see some of the Patriots veterans step up and make some big plays.
Yep, that's right.
Or some of the youngsters step up and
some of
those big plays. So Kyle Van Noy with that pick 6, right? You got McCourty with the pick. You got J.C. Jackson. Those guys were making eventful plays.
Yep. Duggar too. Duggar looked good out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Covering some fanfare.
Running, step for step with Pitts.
Yeah. Listen, I like this segment. This is very enjoyable. Talking about what we got right. We gotta have to do it at the same time, because there's going to be a time we all ask for this stuff and then it goes the opposite, right? So we're gonna have to have fun with that too, right? We'll bring a different sound effect for that one. But I like this segment, Mike. I also got to say, I'm gonna give myself a little bit of credit here. Unfortunately, I did not record I guess let me back up. This is recorded, so I could go back and watch, but I did not write make a register or receipt of my predictions. But I feel like I'm on a little bit of a heater lately when it comes to Pat's predictions. Mike, what do you think? Pretty sure I said when you guys were at the Panthers game, it was kind of a tight game, and I said, "Nah, man, you guys are gonna be in the lower bowl with all the other Pats fans." And when did that happen in the fourth quarter, Dad? When did everybody in the silver and Carolina blue get out of there? Probably sometime early in the fourth, right?
Yeah, early in when the pick six.
That was it, right? Done.
That kind of was like, oh, geez, here we go again.
All right, so that was done. And then let's see, the Browns game. That might have been my best prediction, because I'm pretty sure I said it was going to be like 43-3 or something like that, right? I could be wrong, by the way. Somebody's going to go back and got to go back and audit. 45-7, and then the Falcons. I said, I will quote this. I don't know how they're going to score, and they didn't score, which is beautiful. So I'm just gonna feel myself for just a minute. I'll probably ruin this prediction this week, because now we got a game that's like, this is like, we'll talk about the Titans game coming up, but sometimes you got to take credit when you're on a heater, man. Sometimes you got to take credit for it. So I got to feel good about that.
You're doing that pretty well, Mike.
Yeah, man. I wish I could turn it into some sort of winning when it comes to betting, which I haven't been able to do in quite some time. So I'm great on the podcast, and then it's like I forget about it on Sunday when I hit the submit button.
All right, so let's go there, right?
Okay.
So your top 2 running backs for Tennessee are out. Your top 3 receivers for Tennessee are out.
Man, the Pats keep running into these awesome injury opportunities. A.J. Brown ruled out yesterday, right, Mike? Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So go ahead.
Well, we're going to predict now. Right? Wait a minute. We're going to do predictions.
Score. You just asked that last week, right? How's Tennessee going to score?
We're 12 minutes into the show. We can't do predictions yet.
Their quarterback's leading the league in interceptions, right? He's got 12 INTs. That all sounds like it's moving in the right direction to me.
Here's what I'm going to say, Mike. All of that leads up to a trap game.
Yeah, I'm a little worried after you said
that. Mike and I were talking about, Mike Davis and I were talking about before, Vrabel's not afraid of the Patriots.
No.
So he goes toe-to-toe with Belichick and looks him right in the eye. So
100%.
So the Titans are not going to lay down tomorrow.
No.
And I think the Patriots, I think they may have some trouble moving the ball at times against the Titans defense, to be honest. We're all banking on the fact that the Patriots defense right now is top rated.
Oh, so it's good.
So I hope, that continues. I don't think they can block 9. I mean, I don't think anybody can block 9, to be honest. And
the man with the red sleeves.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Well, so we don't want to get, I don't want to get too far into the
9
predictions.
And 90, right? That's a brutal combination.
90 is.
You got Barmore coming in, destroying the middle. You got the evil one coming in from the side there, number 9, busting up the edge. And then you got a cast of characters coming from the other side, right? Whether it's 91 or 53 or they're just collapsing the pocket left, right, and center.
So you guys are right. Before we get in the Titans game, though, I want to take us back off the rails one more time, but not really off the rails. Kind of like something that I in pre-show I meant to bring this up and I didn't. So hopefully you'll forgive me for that. Have you guys watched the documentary yet? Man in the Arena.
I have not. I've seen parts of it. Yes.
Oh man. Well, we can't talk about it then because you guys got to watch it.
I haven't seen it yet, but you got to give us homework and we'll go back.
So you know what I'm talking about though? Are you familiar with it, Mike? It's the 10-part Brady documentary on ESPN.
Okay.
So you remember The Last Dance, Jordan's 6-part documentary, and people loved it. They talked about how great it was and stuff. And it got real. I haven't seen The Last Dance, which is probably, I have it recorded. Literally, I'm getting to it. It's on my DVR. But, they talked about like, it was very real. They brought in Pippen, and he talked about some stuff he was irritated and aggravated with, and so on and so forth. And it just gave you this very unique look at the 90s Bulls. Well, it's the same thing with the Patriots. So it's a 10-part docuseries. That's a very raw documentary. And the first, I haven't seen episode 2. It comes out every Tuesday. And it's on ESPN Plus. So Mike, I'll hook you up with a, if you don't have a subscription, I got my subscription. All right, there it is. Perfect.
I very rarely ever go to ESPN Plus.
Perfect. So this would be a good reason to go to it. So the first episode, again, I haven't seen the second episode. First episode is all about Brady as a kid into college, and then getting his start, and it kind of walks through the entire 2001 season. And there's why I love this episode is there's a lot of Bledsoe in this episode. Like, it's Bledsoe from his perspective and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to ruin any of it for you, because we'll talk about it moving forward on the show. But I always liked Bledsoe. I'll just put it this way. I'm going to leave you with this. I always liked Bledsoe. Like, I was a big fan, right? We were horrible when we drafted him, number 1 overall pick. Like, guy had a cannon for an arm, like, especially early in his early days when he got a little bit older in Buffalo and Dallas, and even late in New England, he was kind of a statue and got, patted the ball, and we laughed about that and stuff. But I have more respect for Bledsoe than I ever have had after watching that documentary, because there's a couple things that happened. And again, not spoiler alert too much, but just the raw, like how raw he was when it came to just like the emotion of him getting the job and not coming back and not playing in that Super Bowl, and how he
was hurt.
Yeah, he was hurt. Like, he showed the pain. Yeah. So it was anyway. It was unbelievable.
A couple things on Bledsoe. So number 1, I just did a 3.5 hour drive back from Thanksgiving, and I was listening to one of the talking heads, and they were actually comparing Tannehill. This was one of the Titans guys, comparing Tannehill to Bledsoe, and the reason why he was comparing him was he was saying one of the things about Bledsoe is whether it was year 1 or year 10. He'd make that interception and be like, man, you made that interception your first year in the NFL. Like, you never learned, like, you never got better at that particular throw. And one of the things that the Patriots have become known for in the last 10 years is, and we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, mistake repeating, right? They don't tolerate it. Like, you make the mistake, that's cool, but you learn from it and you improve it, and you don't do it again. And this year, we saw a lot of that earlier in the season. And we see that getting better. Now, they still have trouble setting the edge, but at least they've had 10 days now, right? They've had a chance to do a little more self-scouting. They've had a chance to look at that film. And I'm just hoping, are they going to miss the edge a couple of times against the Titans? Yeah. I'm just hoping they do it early. And, so somebody's going to, what's his name there? The old middle linebacker who's now coaching the team, coaching the defense. He's going to go right over him and go,
Mayo?
We talked about this. Yeah, Mayo. Thanks, Gerard Mayo. Mayo's going to be like, okay, we talked about this. You can't get, washed under there. You got to get, you got to shed that block.
Sure.
I'm kind of hoping that, and the same thing with the receivers, right? Troy Brown's going to be like, you got, when you get there, you got to make this cut there, and you got to look, you got to be on the same page. I'm just hoping we're not going to see some of that mistake repeating. And he was saying that as great as Bledsoe was, you could count on him to make that mistake. And he was saying this year, Tannehill isn't learning from that. So if they've had 10 days to scout him, you might look for the Patriots to kind of be baiting him and knowing where he's going to put the ball and being where he's going to put it, not where his receiver is going to be.
Might see a similar thing. Well, so I like that. Just one more point, I guess, on the Bledsoe thing from 2000s. And again, you got to watch it. And I'm telling you too much already, but I forgot how much of a controversy it was that he didn't start the Super Bowl in 2001. Like, I forgot that how big of a deal that was. And it was just interesting to kind of go back to that, you know what I mean? And like, and rewatch that and rewatch his anger. Although they say, he's got some great comments about how, like, if Brady wasn't such a nice guy, that he would have had it would have been much harder for him to stand on the sidelines and respect him. He uses some choice words that we won't say on here, but if he wasn't that guy, like, I don't think I could have done it. but he was such a nice guy and such a humble guy. But he also knew kind of at that point, once he didn't get put back in, that he was never getting his job back. Like Brady was never going to give him his job back. So anyway, interesting documentary. I think you guys got to watch it. Get on and watch it. It's an hour episode each week. I'm sure there's tons of Patriots fans watching it, and it's enjoyable, and it's something that we'll kind of discuss and break down just because it's fun to kind of relive some of that stuff, right? And the great thing is, like on the second episode, it goes from that year, and like Edelman is the guest on the second episode, so it kind of bounces around, and it's not just about like Brady. Like you get a lot of guys that are brought in. So, anywho, let's swing it over and look at. I think we were talking about going through the rest of the season because we're going to jump into the Titans game here in a minute, but maybe it's superstition, maybe it's luck, but we've done this now for like 5 weeks and we've won 5 weeks in a row. So we're going to keep looking through it. I got to give Andrew some more credit. I'll give him a little fanfare too, but I'm pretty sure, when was it, Dad? Was it back after the Cowboys game when Andrew went through the schedule and said he could see no problem. I'll give him one of these. No problem with the playoffs. He was like, man, he went through and kind of hit the wins, and they've won 5 straight. So tomorrow we got Titans at home. Right. Is it weird that I wish it was on the road based on how this team's been playing at home? I don't know. Probably not. I mean, probably wanted it at home, but crazy. Then we got this stretch of 4 games. It's a heck of a stretch here. This is a gauntlet. Then we go to the Bills on Monday night. So a little bit of a longer week, which is good. After a bye, right? There's a bye in there. I believe there's a bye in there after the first Bills game, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. And then we got the Colts.
Got the horseshoes.
Got the horseshoes at the Colts, which got flexed to a Saturday game. So it's now a Saturday game instead of a Sunday game.
And it's like is it an 8:20 game?
It's 8:20. Any feelings on that? On flexing it to Saturday? I mean, I know it's a primetime thing. I don't know.
Well, both teams are coming off a bye too, so at least
it's interesting.
Well, the Patriots, when year in and year out during the playoffs, their divisional round game has always seemed to me to be on Saturday night at 8:20.
Right.
I mean that's kind of when they
that's
they prime time them. I mean
that's right. Well, you're also talking about,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'd say you're also talking about 2 of the best teams in the junk right now. So
I'll get into that in a minute with the Colts, but go ahead.
Yeah, luckily Colts. I think Bedard said it on BSJ. He was talking about the Colts and how they're good, right? They're good, but that Frank Reich, who has the Patriots numbers, if we think about a Super Bowl a few years ago with the Eagles, but he does have Carson Wentz back there. Although he had Nick Foles that night and was able to get it done. So, but a little bit of a different defense, to be fair. So after that, then we go to a day after Christmas game against the Bills. That didn't get flexed, so that's a noon game at home. Which is interesting that it's a noon game. I thought that would at least get moved to the afternoon. I say noon because
it still could. Right?
I say noon because I'm in the Central Time Zone. Everybody, so that's why you might get some time zone. Yeah, it's 1:00 on the Eastern Time Zone. I guess it could get flexed, but maybe because I think they flexed the next 2 or 3 weeks, so maybe that could get. flexed
that seems to me to be a 4:25 type game. I don't know.
I would agree. And then it gets substantially easier from there. Although we've seen in years past games that should be substantially easy, like the Jaguars, who are after the Bills, after the 4-game gauntlet. Although I don't really worry so much about the Jaguars, but I do worry about Week 18, which is a weird thing to say just in general, and the 17th game, which is at Miami, which is like a house of horrors late in the season. That game really worries me. Like I get like shivers of 2009 that come over, or 2019 that come over my body when the team had
that was at
1
home.
seed. Yeah, that's true. Where the team had a 1 seed and just puked it away. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, look, that the Orange Bowl was their house of horrors for so long. And yes, last week of the season, whether they have something to play for or not, they do struggle in Miami historically. You are completely not wrong again, Mike Likas. We will certainly get there, and we will talk about that at the time.
I can see Gronk playing free safety, falling all over himself. I mean, it's just that game. And I have buddies of mine that are from Miami, and they could be 0-16 and they win that game, and they troll me like nobody. It's the worst. I hate that game. I knew it was going to be there before the schedule came out. I can't stand it. I started.
Yeah, you were talking about Super Bowl week when they play that 2007 Super Bowl.
Yep.
Those 72 Dolphins that are all still alive, I'm sure they get together wherever just to watch that game over again.
Oh, absolutely.
To just defend that they're still the best ever.
Yeah. What were they, 13-0? Is that right? Was that their final record? I don't even remember. I wasn't alive in 1972.
Was it 16?
16-0 with 16-0, 13-0 in the regular season. All right, so let's move to the Titans game. We'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get out of here.
So you guys started by calling this a trap game. I heard it.
Yeah, I think, Dad, I think you're on to something. Like, this feels like a game that the Patriots should just roll. I mean, it feels like I don't know. I mean, they don't have any. And I'm going to pull up an injury report. Hold on. You guys talk. I'm going to pull up an injury report because they are so hurt. The Titans are. But it does feel like a trap game.
But note, a lot of the guys they just signed off the street are either former Patriots or guys from the AFC East, right? Like Buster Scrime. Like, they've pulled guys who know this team.
That's true. No, that's true. So you're going to get some mental, knowledge there. Like when I saw they signed Buster Scrime, though, the first thing that came to my mind was, well, which Patriot do I want to select on DraftKings this week? Because he's terrible. Like he's awful. I mean, I remember when he played for the Jets, we used to just crush him every week. You just went after him. But to your point, he does.
But if you're trying to get a guy off the street, at least he knows them.
Well, that's true. But didn't the Patriots sign somebody off the Titans practice squad yesterday? For the same reason, I'm pretty sure they did.
I don't know. I've been away, so
I know it's been a holiday week. I think they did. I'll look it up. I think they signed a Titans linebacker that was released by the Titans earlier in the week, which and they'll cut him on Monday, by the way, after the game.
So while you're looking that up, and then Doug, I'll let you talk. I want to start with, and I think Andrew had this hot take first, right? Or maybe it was Bedard. I do think that the Patriots defensive players have been in Jonnu Smith's ear all week. I think they have been chirping him, and they have been telling him for 10 days that this Titans team gave up on him. They didn't want him. He knows how bad he's been this year so far. And I think Josh McDaniels and Mac Jones are going to do everything they can to get Jonnu Smith involved early in this game. And I think he's going to have a chip on his shoulder, and he's going to want to try to set the tone early. And that's why I think, the bully ball, the multi-tight end, I think they're going to try to, come right at the Titans and try to be the more physical team. And I think, if you're running a jet sweep with Jonnu Smith and there's already two tight ends on that side, or you're running, a jet sweep and you're running Jakob Johnson over there, I could definitely see them trying to get Jonnu Smith involved early. Whether it's, as a block and then a release or on that jet sweep. I think that that's veteran leadership, right? That's the Kyle Van Noy's, that's the Devin McCourty's. I think that's that bulletin board material that Coach, you've talked about already, right?
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I like your take on all of that. The one thing that I will say that I think has really started to evolve over the past 5 games, especially, is that the physicality that the Patriots are playing with.
Absolutely.
Both offensively and defensively. I mean, the recipe in 2001 to winning that Super Bowl was defense, run game, and being physical. Well, I see a lot of the same things happening right now, especially with the two-headed monster they got in the backfield.
Oh, yeah.
Right now. And as you said, Mike Davis last week, or I think it was Trent Brown being back doesn't hurt. Now,
he didn't practice at one point this week, though.
No, but he was back in practice yesterday.
He's going to play. He's going to play.
I just think that when I said it's a trap game, I don't necessarily mean they're going to lose, but I think it may be tougher than people think it's going to be.
Right.
I mean, the Titans right now are still 8-3. They're still a top seed in the AFC East. So it's not like the Jets are coming to town.
Right. Right.
So, but I think Belichick will have them prepared. The Patriots out of a bye week, and I consider this a bye week because they didn't play Sunday. The Patriots out of a bye week are usually pretty good.
Usually.
So
yeah.
You know, so I mean, it'll be fun. I mean, games like this, and Mike, you were talking about the schedule coming up, the next 5 games. As Patriots fans, and I think Mike Davis, I think I include you in this. It's always fun after Thanksgiving being a Patriots fan because the games matter.
Right.
And we're back to that point where a year ago it wasn't fun.
Right.
So we're back. You know, when I used to buy tickets to games late in the season, I used to take Mike and Andrew. We'd go to a December game when it was cold and it was fun. It was this and that. I always was hoping they were in the running so that the game meant something. And we're kind of back into that now, you know?
Yeah.
Every week a game's going to matter. And it makes it a whole lot more fun, I think.
First game you ever took me to, by the way, was at the old stadium, and it didn't matter. I think I don't remember what year it was, but Zolak beat Steve Young to knock the 49ers out of the playoffs.
Did
they make the playoffs? Oh, that's right. I thought we were just knocking. That's right. They beat Steve Young.
And then we went to Jacksonville and got embarrassed the next week.
That's all right. That was a great game. Those metal bleachers, though, in December. Oh, buddy. Let me tell you, that is a different type of cold.
But to my
there,
point, and again, it's only a football game, but as a fan, when it means something, it's whole lot more. It's a whole lot more fun, you know.
No, absolutely. So real quick. So the practice squad signing was Niles Scott, who's a nose tackle that got cut from Tennessee, and they signed him to the practice squad. Doesn't play. This is just interesting. By the way, if you ever just get on, this nerd alert, but I sometimes just get on the NFL.com transactions and just like read through it. It's like Sunday morning news. Derek Rivers got signed by the Texans on the 24th. That's interesting. They're signing all the expatriates, but that's because Caserio drafted a lot of those guys and they weren't very good. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting. So here's the injury report. I'm going to kind of read through this kind of quickly. The Patriots one is a lot of guys questionable. We see this every week, right? Like Cody Davis, Nick Folk. I mean, Nick Folk's been questionable for 5 years. Jonnu Smith, he'll play. I have no doubt, to your point. Bedard, Mike, is who you're talking about with the hot take, thinks Jonnu is going to have a big day, and I like what you're saying. A little bit of a narrative street, but I'm with you. I mean, I think these guys have been in his ear, and Gilmore even said when he played in Week 9 against the Pats, is when you're playing your old team, there's just something a little bit extra there. Hunter Henry, questionable. Damian Harris, questionable. Ramondre Stevenson, questionable. Hightower, questionable. Bentley, questionable. Trent Brown, questionable. Bailey, questionable. Barmore, questionable. And then you have some guys that are all out or on injured reserve. I won't go through that list. 2 guys come back, though. 2 rookies came back to practice this week, which is awesome. Cameron McGrone and Joshua Bledsoe. So that's exciting to see them back. And then if we go down here to the Titans, this is just crazy. Greg Mabin, I think that's how you say it. Mabin, that's how you say it. Mabin, yep. Cornerback out. AJ Brown out. They have a defensive. Injured reserve. He's out for at least 3 weeks.
Just been put on IR. Yeah.
Yep. Tyre Tart out. Nate Davis out. Let's see. Their tight end Swaim's questionable. Elijah Moulton questionable. David Long out. Rashawn Evans out. It's a big deal. Jeremy McNichols, running back, out. They let go of Adrian Peterson this week, so he's not on the team anymore. Logan Woodside out. Joe Jones. I mean, this is crazy. Julio Jones on IR. Derrick Henry, obviously, on IR. I mean, you can't line up a better, this is like Chubb having COVID. And it wasn't, he recovered and he's fine. But I mean, the reality is like we've run into this week by week, and that's a good thing as Patriots fans, because we continue to run into injured teams, and the Patriots are one of the more healthy teams in the league. So if they keep that up, I think Bedard said that, if they keep that up throughout the season, which I don't think will happen because, it always happens. Somebody gets hurt. But really, at the end of the year, it kind of comes down to who the healthiest team is. So
yeah, and go ahead, Mike. It's interesting. You just talked about the 2 rookies coming back, and they haven't seen the field yet. But one of the things that traditionally is a problem across the NFL, and not just for the Patriots, is those linebackers, right? Those inside, those defensive ends. Again, I'm trying to remember who the player was who said there's 100% chance of injury in the NFL. Those guys take an absolute beating.
Oh man.
Right. Whether it's Hightower, whether it's Collins is already on IR, right? So having some players who can be brought in, who have been in the system, who've been learning, who've been watching, who can come in and spell those in week 15, in week 16, in week 17, right? This is the first year of a 17-week schedule. That's going to be huge.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
You know, having the ability to be a deep enough team to get through week 17 and get into the playoffs. We haven't seen this before, right? I mean, not since they went from the 14 to the 16-week schedule.
So I think it's a great point. I want to jump in and do some predictions and get out of here. Got a few minutes left. Man, this is a tough one because I'm bouncing around in my head, Dad, where you're talking about with the trap game, but Mike, how are they going to score, right? Which is what we said against the Falcons. So I'm gonna go last.
What's the line?
Of course,
right, of course. I'll always go last.
Mike, what's the line?
All right, let me see here. So line on this game. Let me back it up. Got my app up here.
7, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's 6.5. Let me see. Here it is. So it is. Yep. It actually moved. You're right, Dad. It moved a point or a half point. So New England's favored by 7. Ooh. And the total is 43.5.
Gotcha. All right, so I'll start because I don't have I do think that, as usual, coaches get some really great insight on this. I actually was thinking the Patriots were only going to win by 3.
Oh, okay.
But having gone back and watched the last 5 minutes of the Falcons game and watching how strong the Patriots finished that game, especially with Kyle Van Noy coming in and making that pick 6, I wouldn't be shocked to see a late cover. I do think the Patriots are going to win. I do think you're going to see a very, very tough first quarter. I do think I would not be at all surprised to see the Titans leading at the end of the first or even at halftime. But I do think the Patriots have more talent with all the injuries that you have out there. And I think with 10 days, they are ready. They're going to be readier. So I'm going to pick them. And I actually am going to take the over, although I think you're going to see quite a bit of score. A field position, if not scoring, by the defensive sides of the ball. I think you might see both quarterbacks turn it over. You might even see a couple of pick sixes. So Patriots by 3, 27-24 maybe.
All right. 27-24. It's a little bit of fireworks back and forth, Dad. How about you?
No, like as I said, I think it's, I don't want to beat a dead horse about the trap game, but I think they'll struggle. They may struggle early because coming out of a bye week, you tend to struggle a little bit trying to get your legs under you again. I do think at the end, I'm going to say 31-17 New England.
All right. 31-17. So that's over 2. Oh man, this game is so difficult to pick for me because in my mind, I'm asking the same question, Mike, which is how are they going to score the Titans? Like, I don't know how they're going to score.
Fair question. But
I also think Vrabel knows New England. He's not stupid. And he's gonna do everything he can. I think if I look at this guy, I just looked at the weather too. No bad weather. It's supposed to be like high of 43. So I think that this is a type of game. I think it's gonna be a rock fight. Like I think it's gonna go under, and I think it's gonna be. I think. Let me give you a for instance on this game. The parallel won't make sense until I explain it. But this reminds me. I don't remember what year it was. Maybe 2010. Whatever year. What year did the Dolphins run the Wildcat and beat us and embarrass us? Remember what year that was? Ronnie Brown.
I remember the
whatever,
game, but I don't remember.
Whatever year it was, like the Dolphins were more talented probably currently than what the Titans are because of the injuries. But this just feels like a game where Vrabel's going to do everything he can to protect Tannehill and like move. I could see. I don't know why I'm trying to say. I could see a lot of like misdirection, a lot of read option, a lot of stuff. And it's similar to what the Dolphins did with the Wildcat, where it's not just their normal, hey, I'm going to give it to Derrick Henry, or I got 2 good receivers on the outside. Like, I think you're going to see a lot of like 4 yards, 5 yards, and a cloud of dust. And the Titans just wanting to reduce Tannehill's mistakes and slow the game down and make the Patriots defense aggravated. And what I mean by that is it's aggravating as a defense when you're letting up 4 yards a play and slowly getting taken down the field and you're getting beat up in the process. And
you want to make them impatient. So they make mistakes.
Exactly. And you're moving. I think you're going to see a lot of side-to-side movement from the Titans, where literally that read option or stuff where they're going to have to get to the edge. Mike, you brought up earlier, can they set the edge? I think there's still some weaknesses there. I do think the Patriots win, but I actually think this is a game where the defense it's almost going to be, they're also going to be bored, and the Titans are going to go down slowly and score. And to your point, Dad, that may open them up for a big play to someone who we don't even know, right? Somebody, right. And so I look at this game. I think the Patriots win, but I love what you said about the struggle early, Mike. I think the Titans probably make them look a little silly in the first quarter, get their legs back under them. And I see the Patriots winning a game. Like, I could see this being a 17-13 game where they just, or even like a 17-13 or something where, Patriots got to kick a lot of field goals. Titans kick a lot of field goals. You get a tough touchdown or two, but I think it's going to just be a slog type of, I don't see anybody blowing each other out. And I think the Titans are going to make it tough. So I'll go 17-10. 17-10 is what
I'll take that.
Is what I'll go. Which, a win's a win, right?
So you're picking the Patriots to cover too.
Yeah, I think I think they'll push, right? I think they'll push and it'll go under. But I could also see literally like a 16-10, like where Nick Folk kicks 6 field goals, and who I don't know who the Titans kicker is, but he kicks 5, like just that type of game where it's just beating the crap out of each other. And I think that would be really aggravating to Patriots fans looking at a game like this. But I think Vrabel knows how to aggravate that defense.
Yeah, he does.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's how you do it. That they're more talented on defense. So what have the Patriots done historically to the Chiefs, who have a more talented offense? They make you take 3 yards and they make you they slow everything down. And I could see the Titans doing that to this defense. Yeah. So anyway, all right. Final thoughts before we get out of here. Any final thoughts?
Nope. It's great to be back doing a podcast again.
Oh, yeah.
Just doing it earlier in the week, and Pats win tomorrow. Keep rolling. Look forward to getting into this again next week on a winning note.
Awesome. Mike, any final thoughts for you?
As I said, I'm hoping Jonnu gets to redeem himself. I do think you're going to see the more talented team win, and I think they're going to be surprising. I think you're going to see some picks going both ways. I think you may see quite a few picks going both ways. But I'm hopeful that we're going to see a fun game tomorrow.
All right.
I'm definitely looking forward to getting together with everybody. And I'm going to invite everybody who's watching this podcast. We want you to join us on this.
Yeah, come on.
Have more shining faces on this show.
That's exactly.
You don't have to have a beard. We promise, even though everybody
you don't have to have facial hair.
Not a requirement.
Like Andrew says, it's a Zoom. We can put on a bunch of people on this screen. So come on, folks.
100%. Bring it in. Remember, just email me, patstailgateparty@gmail.com, patstailgateparty@gmail.com. We want more faces on here. And look, I hope you guys are right about your scores. I'll take your scores over my score tomorrow. So hopefully that's the case. And man, it was fun.
Win is a win.
Hey, a win is a win. And let's see the Pats go to 8-4, move up in the rankings, and then get ready for 2 huge matchups against the Bills coming up. So, hey, it was awesome. Thanks everybody again for joining us. Have fun tomorrow. Be safe, and go Pats.